Wonderful good day this morning out of Munich here in Germany. Today we want to inform you and update you about Altona Mining Limited, a Australian company producing copper and also gold in Finland. And with me here is Dr. Alistair Cowden. He is the managing director of the company. Alistair, thanks for taking the time to have you here in the studios. Yeah, first of all, give us a short overview about Altona. What are you doing?
Well, thank you for inviting me back to Germany, Jochen. It's great to be here. Altona is a very simple company, as you know. We have two major assets. One, a producing underground copper gold mine in Finland. The second being a major copper development project, much bigger in Queensland and northeastern Australia.
Well, you are producing copper and gold, as I always said at the introduction, in Finland. Can you give us a little bit more detailed insight here? As you had fantastic quarterly numbers. Also, I think your yearly numbers will be going very well. So please give us more insight about.
Well, the mine in Finland only reached full production maybe some 6-9 months ago. So it's a very young mine, and fortunately, we produced on time, on budget, and since we started production we've been exceeding expectations, and the copper grade has been above what we expected. So we're making money, we're profitable. The company is now considering expansion and improving that asset.
When you say you're making money, you are profitable. Can you give us some numbers? What are your all-in costs for the copper after the credit of the gold?
Sure. There's different ways of looking at the copper production costs. The standard one in the industry is a thing called C1 cash cost, and that's around $1.50, $1.60 a pound. However, that excludes capital, sustaining capital to keep the mine going in the long term. Once you include that, maybe $2.40, $2.30 a pound. Copper price today, $3.30 a pound. So it's quite profitable. Good margin in the mine at the moment.
That's before or after the gold credits?
After the gold credits.
After gold credits. Okay. So what production do you anticipate now in the fiscal year?
For this year, we've just increased our guidance. We should do around 8,000 tonnes of copper and maybe 8,500 ounces of gold for the financial year, the Australian financial year that closes in June 30. And very shortly, we'll be releasing our guidance for next financial year, and hopefully we can do the same next year.
So you thought you want to expand the mine. What are your plans there? What is your plans, let's say, for the next 18 months with the expansion? How fast could it be, and to what production levels you think you can ramp it up?
A project like this goes through various stages. The first stage was, we've got the asset, how do we fund it, how are we going to mine it? So you do the studies, you find the money, then you panic and build the mine. Goodness gracious, will we ever get it there? Finally you get production, then you try and build it up to reach production. Now we're getting into the perfecting the mine. So there's various things that we can do to reduce costs, increase productivity. So the first things that we'll be doing is looking at productivity. So we can increase the rate of recovery of copper to our product that we sell, to concentrates. We can perhaps reduce the consumable costs, reagents, and wear parts. You smash rocks up, so you wear material away. Getting that better reduces costs. In the mine, we can introduce efficiencies in the techniques we use to mine. That may improve unit costs. Then in addition to that, we're also, later this year, we'll commence drilling at the bottom of the mine. We start mining.
So you're going deeper?
We'll go deeper. We start mining at about 150 meters below surface, and currently our information starts to die out from drilling at maybe 650, 700 meters deep.
Oh, wow.
So,
and it's still mineralized?
Very, very strong, but a long way down. Currently we're 400 meters below surface, and we're now down far enough that we can drill from underground to try and find the bottom of the mine and see if we can extend it. That would then perhaps, one of two things, will either increase mine life or increase production. And once we've got that information and done the studies, we'll make the decision on that expansion of life or production rate, probably towards the end of 2013, early 2014.
So that's probably the next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, 6 to 9 months to get the information, and then look at the capital required, which should be relatively small to expand.
If you say small, what do you think?
Maybe 10 million.
So you can afford it from the cash flow?
We can afford it from the cash flow. We may choose to leverage it. We have a small amount of debt at the moment. Whatever makes the most sense for the balance sheet.
So but you are not considering any dilution for the shareholders?
I'm a large shareholder. I would rather avoid dilution.
Good to hear that. I think that's important for everybody. Yes, absolutely. No, well, that sounds very interesting. Do you do any hedging?
We do. We're quite a conservative company. Many investors say that they want full exposure to the commodity price, and that's fine. But it's not a prudent way to run a business. If commodity prices fall, like we've seen, you can expose yourself to losses. We do two kinds of hedging. We do a long-term hedge, which maybe over the next 3 years, we're hedged maybe 30–40% of our production at just above today's copper price. And we've also hedged it in euro because our costs are in euro, so we get a natural currency hedge there on our costs.
That's good. Yeah.
We also do
because you pay also the wages in euros, right?
Yes,
in Finland.
All the costs.
So
are in
that's
euros.
all hedged then.
Yes, yes. So,
perfect.
So what it means is basically your operating costs are covered. The other kind of hedging we do is almost like an insurance policy, in that when you sell copper gold concentrate to a smelter, the price at which you get paid is usually set 3 months after delivery. So after delivering, they give you an initial payment, and then the payment's finalized after 3 months. So you're exposed to movement in the copper price for 3 months. So to remove that risk, we go and do a 3-month hedge. And many of your viewers might notice that if you look at copper prices, they often see a 3-month price. And that's why, because it's a very commonly traded contract.
I see, okay.
So that's one we take advantage of, just to take rise. So in this falling price environment recently, we've done very well. Obviously, in a rising price environment, you don't do as well. But our view is we don't care. We're just trying to remove the risk so that we don't find ourselves owing the smelter money because just remove another risk from the business. So it's just being prudent.
Okay, very good. Yeah, sounds very compelling to me. But it means also that, well, you are not hedging the whole production, of course, only a part.
No, only a part.
What part is it, roughly?
30–40%.
Okay, yeah, that's enough. So even if, let's say, if copper prices rise, as we saw today from the Bank of China, they are buying already now commodities, so maybe we are on the edge that something goes much better, coming back with higher prices, you can still participate, maybe with a little time lag, right?
That's correct. So maybe 60–70% of your production is exposed to the price, and I'm a great believer in copper. One of the things that, again, viewers might not understand is that we only worry about 12 copper prices a year, the average for each month. And you may see commodity price graphs that are going crazy.
High volatility.
A lot of volatility. You read the newspapers and there's a lot of noise, panic up, panic down. But if you look at the monthly average, the volatility doesn't all disappear, but a large amount disappears. And that's the basis on which most producers are paid. Unlike gold, where it's the day of delivery. For base metals, it's generally monthly average, and for some it's even quarterly average prices.
Okay. Well, very good. Coming to Australia, can you give us a short insight, or let's say an update about Little Eva? What's going on there? I think the drills are turning, right? You are in negotiations. Obviously, we can't talk completely about it because it's all confidential, and we are fully respecting that. But maybe you can give us an idea, what are your plans there? Okay,
well, just to step back, what we have there is we're in one of the world's major mineral provinces. Right next door to us, happening right today, there's a major development happening from a Chinese company, MMG. And we're all around that. And they're putting in around $1 billion. Now you go to Little Eva, middle of nowhere in the Australian bush, and you can get on an iPad and do emails and watch movies because the communications have all been put in.
Wow.
So the infrastructure is fantastic. We're all round about that. We have the potential to build a large open pit copper mine. The capital cost for that is over $300 million. For a company our size, a surefire way to destroy shareholder wealth is to go out and do that traditionally by debt and equity. We'll dilute the shareholder and we'll work for the banks. So we're not doing that. So back in January, we commenced a process with our advisors, Credit Suisse, where we went out and engaged with the wider market to find either a buyer for the company or a partner of some kind. And that process has been going on for a few months now, and it's now drawing to the end. It's difficult markets. The equity markets are very poor for resources at the moment. Confidence is not high. So to get any kind of outcome in this market would be a very good thing. So the sort of things, we still have some very credible parties in there. We're looking at things that would range from selling the project to partnering the project. The kind of parties are in there. There'll be Chinese parties, there's major construction groups, mining companies, investment houses, those sort of guys. These things don't happen quickly, and it can be very frustrating for shareholders because you can't share what's going on.
It's maybe one of the reasons why our share price is still so low.
I actually think our share price is low, but unfortunately, if you look at the share market in Australia,
that's all a nightmare.
all the other copper companies are probably performing more poorly than we have. We are one of the few who are profitable and doing very well. Typically in booms, you see projects get up and running that probably shouldn't have got up and running, and eventually it all comes home. And poor projects are always poor projects. So and some of that's happening now that we've seen a downturn. We get poor quality companies, affects confidence. I think actually this is a very interesting time for us. We're strong. We've got $25 million cash in the bank. We've got cash flow. We've got a serious asset in Finland that is successful.
And expanding.
De-risked, can grow. And we have a serious strategic asset in Rosby. And who knows what might happen in the way of a deal. This is the time where if with wise and patient investing you can do well. We did this before in Finland. The Finnish asset basically came out of the crash in 2008. We had the KYLYLAHTI mine, hadn't started. It was a grassroots mine. We had no mill. The downturn came, we had money in the bank. We bought the mill from bankruptcy estate. We were patient, we couldn't get it during the boom. It was never for sale. We bought it from bankruptcy estate for just €4.5 million.
Great.
Cheap.
It's
It cost 100 million. And we were able to get finance. And away we went. The same opportunities I think are going to be there. We get offered opportunities, companies, projects all day, every day, because there's no other finance around, and people see you've got money. The right one hasn't come to us yet, plus we've got our own projects. So I think it's an interesting time in the market. I think the strong will only get stronger in this market.
Very good. So we can expect some good news flow over the next months?
The other thing we're doing at Rosby is we're drilling. Some of your viewers would have heard me talk about the exploration potential of Rosby. Well, we really haven't delivered on that. What we've done is the easy things. We've gone to known deposits and made them bigger, very successfully, nearly doubled.
What's the resource now at Rosby?
It's 260 million tonnes at 0.6 copper, which gives you around 1.5 million tonnes of copper metal. Very big.
And gold, right?
And about 400,000 ounces of gold in the ground. But what we haven't done is really looked more widely, and we have 1,500 square kilometres of ground. Now,
that's a lot.
It's a lot. And what we did is we inherited a rather dysfunctional set of data, and we've had people just working away for a couple of years, putting in sensible database, and now we're able to exploit that. First step is this big regional RAB program. RAB drilling is little lightweight rig on the back of a Toyota, and it runs around the bush very easily, very quickly. We just drill 6 meters to see what we can see. So it's almost like a sniffing tool. And then if we get anything, we can follow it up. And you know, we're seeing plenty of copper, but well, how meaningful it is, well, we'll see, and we'll announce the results perhaps in the next month or so.
Okay.
We're still drilling for another few weeks.
Okay. And with the strategic partnerships, where do you think there could be some result? Maybe.
One never knows, but
summer or fall?
I'm hopeful that before the northern hemisphere summer that we've got some news, but who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
Good.
You can only get out there. You can't make people deal.
Yes, of course. That's for sure. Well, fantastic, Elias. Thank you very much for the update. That was excellent. I think very compelling story, and yeah, beautiful. Thanks for having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was an update to Altona Mining. You heard it. Production is fantastic in Finland. They will expand the mine. It's all on track. All is in the plans, in the expansion scheme. And Alistair is working hard on the stuff. And also, drills are turning at Little Eva. So we expect some news flow out of that. And yeah, we will watch the company carefully and keep you updated. Thanks for watching us. Bye bye. Das war Jochen Steiger, Commodity TV, out of Munich.